I'm more than happy to welcome the honorary ambassador of South Korea to Austria, based in Vienna today in this video podcast, or for those who are only listening in this podcast. Excellency, thank you for your time and thank you for being with us in this podcast today.
You're most welcome, and thanks for your kind invitation to this very useful exchange of opinion and views. And first of all, I'd like to thank you, and second, I'd like to convey my best wishes for people in Austria and people in Europe altogether.
Thank you so much for your kind words. I'm more than happy to receive you, not only due to our cooperation, since you are representing your beautiful country in my country, but also due to my capacity as the head of the European Parliament's delegation for the Korean Peninsula, but especially due to the pandemic, because South Korea is considered not only by me, but by many people who have insight into the whole issue. South Korea is considered as one of the best examples, maybe the best example in the world of how a society, a country can deal with coronavirus. That means can deal with this whole pandemic. So we all have to learn from this South Korean example. That's why I'm happy, Excellency, that you're ready today and you are willing to share your experiences and the experiences of your government, of your society with us today. So let me ask you the very first question. What would you consider as the main and most important means and measures South Korea has taken to confront the coronavirus outbreak in your country?
Thank you very much again for your kind words and appreciation, Mr. Mandl. Yes, actually, as a representative of the Republic of Korea here in Vienna, in Austria, I'm very pleased and also very proud to be a part of all these successful exemplar efforts to fight against the pandemic, so-called coronavirus 19, which endangered and also which has threatened all of us, not only Korea and Austria, but also Europe and entire world. Yes, the basic principles of our President Moon Jae-in and our government is this: openness, transparency, and democracy. This is, I would elaborate on later, but the basic guiding principles we have pursued so far. So, based upon these principles, we have taken three major steps. One is to know the sources of danger, and then to share the information and the danger. And then third, based upon all these, has taken very vigorous and effective measures. First, about knowing, actually, we have taken rigorous and also effective detective measures. And first, we have introduced the test kits, and we started introducing and started manufacturing massive test kits. And secondly, as a part of our efforts, we also introduced the very innovative system, so-called drive-through test station.
So you have mentioned, if I may step in here, thank you for sharing this experience. You have mentioned democracy, openness, and transparency as main pillars also for, I would guess, confidence in the public and confidence all over the society into the means and measures that are taken for the health of all people. And obviously it worked out well in your country. And on the other side, you have also mentioned the tests and test kits. So may I ask you right away, are the tests more important, would you say, for the single individual person, or are the tests rather more, and that's my assumption, are the tests rather more with regard to an understanding of the whole outbreak so that the authorities can handle with it better due to this knowledge, this broad testing in special areas, in special parts of society, in specific parts of the population, due to this information, due to these tests?
Yeah, I was about to actually touch upon all those aspects. Actually, first, yeah, as I said, the knowing is foremost important. We have to know where the danger exists. And then we have to share those information and also data in a very timely manner, quickly and swiftly. And by doing so, actually, we have we have been able to build up, get the trust of the people and also cooperation of the people. So, for example, right, with the information and data we have collected through the test. First, we utilize them in order to help the patient or confirmed patient cases to recover the confirmed cases. And then second, we try to share this the useful, important, meaningful data and information to let the people know where the danger exists and also how they have to move and behave and move and live. So on this actually we used the important the IT technology. There are two apps. One is the apps for the self-diagnosis, and then second one is the self-quarantine and also the protection
I
app.
see. I will go deeper into that question of technology, which is really amazing what you have achieved in that field, maybe a little later. Can I ask you right away today? So you're the highest representative of your country in Austria, and you're based in Europe by that capacity, and you're a diplomat, of course. Anyway, I want to right away ask you, do you think that the means and measures your country has taken to protect its citizens could also apply in Europe?
Yeah, I think that basically the situation may differ by countries. So depending on the capacity and also the preparedness of respective governments and countries. But here in Europe, I think that we share two important major elements. One is that the European countries, including Austria, are the democratic society with the same guiding principles, which respect the same guiding principles, such as openness and transparency. And then nowadays, we can get the information and news and data on a daily basis and on a regular basis. And then secondly, European countries and Austria are the well advanced in many areas, including the IT and also health industry and also medical industry too. So with this, the well advanced technology and capabilities, I think that the European countries, including Austria, can deal with and respond to this the pandemic, a challenge, pandemic,
Thank you for
in
your
a effective way.
Thank you for your confidence into our capacity and capability to confront this pandemic. What's your assessment so far on the means and measures that have been taken by Austria? Since you live in Austria, and I'm really happy that you also take care, especially of your countrymen living in Austria during this pandemic. What's your overall assessment so far of the Austrian approach to the pandemic?
Yeah, the Austrian government has done its job very remarkably and successfully under the leadership of Chancellor Kurz, that I really appreciate. These policies and also the active measures I'd like to appreciate in with 4 words. That is preemptive, proactive, and comprehensive, and very timely. Actually, this has been very successful, and with these policy measures, the Austrian government has been able to first block these epidemics efficiently and share the information with people. And thirdly, tackling this disease somehow very effectively too. I think that all this reminds me, all this achievement by the Kurz, Chancellor Kurz and Austrian government reminds me of the remarkable leadership of President Moon Jae-in and also the achievement of the Korean government.
Responsible leadership is important in times like this, and I'm more than happy that your assessment is positive. On Austria, we still have to fight also on the level of self-responsibility of citizens. And this would be my next question to you. You have already explained the approach of the government and the huge management efforts you have managed to do in your country, but there remains always a part of self-responsibility, which is only conducted by the single citizen. So to what extent has this self-responsibility of the South Korean citizens have been a part of the whole response of your country to coronavirus?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, with the very proactive policies and also the policy measures, our government has been able to garner the trust, secure the trust, and garner the support of the Korean people. And also, together with this, actually, we can get the cooperation, full cooperation, voluntary cooperation of the Korean people. You're right. The transparent and also very timely sharing of information somehow encourages people to be more cooperative with the government, towards the government policies and efforts. But on the other hand, back in Korea, I think that the Koreans have the certain the nationalistic characteristics that the bond together, to get together and try to overcome this crisis and then difficulties with collective power. That it was actually witnessed in year 1997 when Korea was hit hard by the financial crisis. At that time, many Koreans actually voluntarily offered their gold to save the country's economy. I think that the current voluntary cooperation by the Korean people is not new one, but rather traditional and historic and intrinsic one.
Which is a huge strength of your country, of course, as well. And it is also an example to overcome this crisis and others as well. You were already telling something about the technology, about the two main apps the authorities of South Korea have used to actually save lives. And of course, we are in a position that we know that using apps, using the opportunities of digitalization of the technology can actually save lives. On the other side, there is always the question of data protection, not only in Europe, but also in your country, as far as I know. So to what extent has these technology measures been part of the solution South Korea provided its citizens with, and it's still ongoing as far as I understand? And how do you deal with this question of data protection, which is also always present in the public debates?
Yes, you're right. Actually, I think that we benefit a lot from the technological prowess that we have achieved so far. But here, I'd like to emphasize that this technological the advantage is not new one. Actually, we have invested a lot for a long time. For example, it is not new because our government, and particularly our President Moon Jae-in of the Republic of Korea, puts the highest priority to the development of the so-called new industry as a part of our policy and efforts to cope up with the so-called fourth generation, the fourth industrial revolution. So we have invested a lot in biotech and also the well-advanced semiconductor and also the new future cars. So we have invested a lot in the biotechnology and bioindustry, and together with the IT, so-called information technology, now we can fully utilize these technologies to cope up with and to respond to these pandemic issues.
Very important to have a look also on this level. Well, it's only 5 years ago, 2015, South Korea experienced a MERS outbreak. To what extent was it similar to the current crisis, and what is different today? And what did the government learn from this period? It's something, of course, you benefit from today, and we all can, on the other side, benefit from your example then. So what are the similarities and what are the differences between today and the MERS outbreak 5 years ago?
Yes, actually, first of all, the common thing is that these two are the serious pandemics, though there exist certain different levels of the different levels and then degrees, but these two are the important the challenges, serious challenges to all of us. And then different thing is from the natures and also from the characteristics and also from the effects. In many ways, these two are different. So different ways need different approaches. But all in all, not only SARS, but before that, not only MERS, before the MERS, there was a SARS a long time ago, though Korea was not directly affected. But since then, we have introduced very effective so-called disease control and prevention measures. We established the specific designated centers for this purpose in year 2003 in the wake of the SARS epidemics. And in year 2015, in the wake of dealing with the MERS, we have further strengthened and also streamlined the networks. And also we also refurbished the laws and the relevant laws and regulations. So in some sense, actually, Korea, having gone through all these procedures, Korea has gained some kind of the system, network, legal framework, and also the actual network and system to respond to this kind of the pandemic issues.
Let's hope that at the latest, after this pandemic, all the world will have these experience and these concepts for times of crisis. Due to that, Excellency, Honorable Ambassador, it's hard to predict something in times like this. I know that. On the other side, I don't want to finish today's talk without your final words, of course, which I don't want you to interrupt, and especially the question, what would you anyway predict for the further development of the pandemic, of the coronavirus outbreak in your country, in Europe, and all over the world? What would be your prediction as of today, which is March 31st, 2020? Nobody knows, but let's say we can share our knowledge as far as we see and have it to learn from each other.
Yes, Korea and Austria have led the international efforts to contain and control this disease, and somewhat successfully. And we have set the exemplar model. And as I said, I'm pleased and also take pride in these facts. But we should not be complacent about the achievements that we have made so far. So, as we have witnessed, inside Austria and inside Korea, we have consolidated ourselves and also we have garnered the strength of the people. That's the most effective prescription to this disease. And likewise, in the future, this is pandemic issue, and then only one or two countries cannot resolve this issue once and for all. So as it was already confirmed by the leaders of the G20s about a couple of days ago, that I'd like to quote some words, combating Combating this pandemic calls for a transparent, robust, coordinated, large-scale, and science-based global response in the spirit of solidarity. So we have to the established somehow create solidarity, and based upon this solidarity we have to do the kind of concerted efforts to fight against this pandemic issue. First of all, we have to share information and share data. And in this sense, actually, our president made it clear that he and our government is willing to provide best practices and also all the useful data we have accumulated so far. And he also suggests to do so from between many countries. So exchanges of meaningful data, information, and best practices. And then second thing is that we have to help each other by providing us means that the entire human beings with the effective, the equipment, systems, and also materials, such as the vaccines and also therapeutics and medicines. And the secondly, as we start witnessing and then feeling our economy is started getting squeezed or getting shrunken. So under this actually difficult time, we have to find out very creative way to stimulate the economy, and by doing so to support the people with the adequate financial resources. That's the reason why our government is strongly supportive of the so-called active and expansive monetary and fiscal policies to boost up the economy. And then thirdly, we have to do our best to streamline the free flow of goods and services between the countries across the borders. And in this vein, our president suggested to allow the free flow of the exchanges of businessmen, scientists, and also the scientists and experts. So this kind of the free flow of the information, the goods, and then materials, and also the equipment are needed for the future. And then finally, since this is the global pandemic issue, we have to think about those who are in need around the globe, so-called developing countries. So we also should not spare any effort to assist those who need the well-advanced technologies and also the materialistic assistance from developed countries like Korea and Austria.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the insights you shared with us today. If one wanted to summarize, which is not easy, I would say transparency is important, leadership, technology, solidarity on a global scale, as you have already mentioned, and self-responsibility by the people. That's something we talk about each and every day in Austria, as you can experience each and every day in Austria, and which is important all over Europe, all over the planet. I hope that many people will be safe due to the means and measures that are taken by politics on each and every level at the moment. That's the time when politics is needed, when states are needed. South Korea is doing very good. Austria is obviously also doing as good as it can. And also the European Union does its part. I hope we all can learn from your example. I wish you, Honorary Ambassador, all the best, good health for you and your family, and for all people in your beautiful country. Thank you again for joining today's podcast.
Yeah, Your Honorable Mandl, before going, can I add one or two more elements that I missed?
I look forward to.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much once again. And yeah, in addition to what you have summed up, the foremost important thing is that the openness and also candidness by the government and by the leadership. Then, as we have already agreed, actually, these are the important virtues that can secure and mobilize the voluntary trust and also voluntary cooperation of the people, not only in Korea and Austria, but also around the world. So we have proved that our approach and our effort, the policy efforts are right. And on the other hand, every crisis, there is an opportunity in every crisis or every challenge. I think that while we are coping up with or trying to deal with this pandemic challenge or pandemic threat, we started realizing how much we are closely intertwined and also how much we can contribute to each other's the security and safety and health. So for example, as a Korean ambassador here in Austria, I'm very pleased to note that already Korea can start cooperating further with not only Austria, but also with the other European countries. First, through
Thank you for this offer.
Actually, first, we already started. First, actually, through the exchanges of information and data. And then secondly, we the offer and start already providing the necessary equipment and the so-called very famous drive-through testing stations. There is one in Austria, and also there are many others in across the European continent already put into operation. And then thirdly, we start in this vein. Actually, we also start providing the medical equipment and also materials to many European countries, including Austria. And as I said, actually, all in all, we started cooperating with each other, and also I'd like to note one more thing, that in the future, in the wake of all these crises and also difficult times, I have found another silver lining. That is that if we can combine the Korea's well advanced commercialization and industrialization capabilities based upon as I explained already, our huge investment based upon our prowess in the so-called new technology. If we can combine the advantages with the traditional European advantage in the science and technology, we can produce something positive for not only Austrians and Koreans, but also for the people around the world. Here, I'd like to note that President Moon Jae-in of the Republic of Korea and Chancellor Kurz of the Republic of Austria, when they met last year, February, back in Seoul, they agreed to promote the future-oriented cooperation, which will build upon the Austria's advantage and Korea's advantage altogether. And as a Korean ambassador here in Austria, I'm very much willing to do my best to further strengthen this kind of future-oriented cooperation. And today, thank you very much, Mr. Mandl, for your chance to enable me to share my knowledge and also my perspective with many other people across in Europe. And I wish you, your family, and people of Austria and Europe stay good, the continued good health and all the best under these challenging and testing times. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your good wishes. Thank you for sharing insights also on the level of civil servants with the European Union as well as with Austria. Thank you that you already began with that on a very early stage. We benefit from that. And the relations between EU and South Korea were already excellent before this crisis. But the crisis shows that our friendship is real and that we help each other. At the moment, you help us out a lot. Thank you for that. I have already shared a few days ago, may I share it with you for a second, in my blog, a specific blog posting in German language on South Korea and its huge achievements and its support for Europe, of course. So each and everybody can look it up also in German language. I look forward to our further cooperation. Wish you again all the best. Thank you for your good wishes and look forward to our cooperation during the crisis, which is saving lives and very important, but also after the crisis. All the best and take care.
Yeah, thank you very much. All the best to you. Thank you.